This video contains spoilers on Better Call Saul up through and including Episode 5 of Season 5. So viewers, please be warned. The spoilers are about to begin.
You're one of those people that give a little money to charity every month so you can make up for all the bad that you've done.
I think we need to reconsider the other contender, lot 2375.
2375, the vacant lot with the flooding problem.
You go to a soup kitchen once a year on Thanksgiving. That makes you feel a whole lot better about yourself.
First, I had to twist your arm to get you down to Tucumcari for the eviction.
Makes you feel like one of the best rich people.
Then you put the full court press on Kevin to change sites. That doesn't work. And abracadabra, your boyfriend's opposing counsel.
I have a case in Tucumcari, and there's something I want to discuss with you.
A contract means something. It's the law, and it's enforceable. Deal with it.
You are accusing me of something. Go ahead and say it. Are you talking about malfeasance? Working against my client's interest? What?
Office with me.
What are you I just told you
get a little bored with your life, so you come down and roll around in the dirt. Have some fun with slipping Jimmy.
Oh, is it fun? Fun?
Let's do it again.
There's always another play.
Okay.
Okay.
The most interesting thing this season for me has been the story of Kim Wexler. This, of course, is all taking place as we have seen the transition and progress from Jimmy McGill into Saul Goodman. These two progressions have always had a connection, and now they seem more deeply intertwined than ever. As much as Goodman has always been fast and loose with drawing his moral line of conduct, the same can be said of Kim. Sometimes she enjoys joining Goodman in a fun hustle, and other times she frowns down on his actions with an arrogant, self-serving, holier-than-thou attitude. Goodman is the one who's always been more honest about where he sees that invisible line that defines his moral code. Goodman is comfortable with where he draws that line, and if the progression of Jimmy into Saul has taught us anything, it's that Jimmy's inner Goodman has always been the part of him that would ultimately define who he is now becoming. We even see strong hints of this in the Gene timeline, where Gene misses Goodman every bit as much as Jimmy long yearned to become Goodman. Regardless of his circumstances, his inner Goodman has always been his voice of moral clarity. The only thing that has seemingly long acted as a deterrent for Jimmy going all in with his inner Goodman is his genuine affection for Kim. And Kim has always been more than a bit wishy-washy on this point. That makes Kim far more of a hypocrite than Goodman. Sometimes she encourages Jimmy to embrace his inner Goodman. Sometimes she tries to dissuade him. Sometimes crossing the line makes her feel all hot and steamy. And other times crossing the line fills her with inner remorse. Kim has been consistently inconsistent on this point, and it usually boils down to whether she wants to indulge in her own selfish priorities. When she does, she is perfectly fine with Jimmy being Goodman. But she is just as apt to discourage Goodman whenever she feels he is going too far. That is, going too far based on her own selfish whims. Kim is simply far more conflicted than Goodman. The only thing keeping Goodman remotely grounded in his Jimmy existence is Kim. That's it. But for Kim, she fancies herself some super complex moral authority who always thinks she knows what's best. And far too often, Jimmy/Goodman is eager to appease her, whichever direction her selfish whims take her in a given situation. Ergo, Goodman is far more loyal to Kim. He loves her unconditionally for who she is. Goodman truly loves Kim for being Kim, but I don't think the same can be said in reverse. Kim loves Jimmy to be sure, but I don't believe she loves him unconditionally the same way he loves her. Not even close. Kim is far too selfish and uncomfortable in her own skin. All of these inner conflicts Kim is experiencing are best symbolized by her love-hate relationship with Mesa Verde. And more to the point, the circumstances of Mr. Acker seemingly represent what might well become Kim's defining moment. Kim is an exceptionally talented lawyer, and she's a very hard worker who is extremely dedicated to her craft. She's damn good at what she does, and she knows it, but her entire working relationship with Mesa Verde is something that she has always struggled with. On one hand, she's quick to accept praise from others regarding her exceptional talents, but on the other hand, she seems more than a bit dismayed that the legal system inherently favors those who have a wider scope of power and influence. This has always bothered Kim, and this is why she is so fond of her pro bono side hobby, because it makes her feel good about herself. Kim's pro bono work helps her sleep at night. This is why Kim looks so upset when Mr. Acker accurately pegs her for exactly who she is and what she is.
Makes you feel like one of the best rich people.
A contract means something. It's the law, and it's enforceable. Deal with it.
Kim put on a tough front with Mr. Acker, but this makes her feel guilty where she once again feels inclined to work against the big client she's supposed to be serving. Why? Because Kim knows deep down that Acker is right. And unlike Goodman, who's perfectly happy doing what he does, deep down, Kim hates that she's helping Mesa Verde. So what does Kim do? She turns to Slip and Jimmy for help. The same Goodman she frowned upon when he had his moment of clarity and made the decision to go all in as Saul Goodman. Jimmy is another one who already called Kim out on her bullshit last season. Only she's still so self-absorbed she doesn't see it. But she did see it when Acker called her out because she's always seen Jimmy for what she wants him to be and not for what he is. Except when she needs him, like now. So Goodman's happy to help her. He's doing his hustle and making things extremely difficult for Mesa Verde. And Kevin is growing more and more perturbed, and Kim is loving it. She's absolutely loving Goodman's hustle when it serves her selfish interests. Again highlighting the fact that she's a hypocrite who doesn't care for Goodman as much as he cares for her. When things reach the point where they've exhausted being a nuisance to Mesa Verde, Jimmy basically encourages Kim to roll with the momentum and give up her quest to undermine her bread and butter client. But Goodman is too smart and he's a step ahead of her. Goodman is aware there is another play, and he dangles it in front of her, knowing full well that she will take the bait. Because Goodman knows Kim wants this, but he also knows that her holier-than-thou demeanor is always interfering with her underhanded motives. So Goodman is still working his magic, and even though Saul couldn't acquire Mike's services as his PI, he still had Mr. X on standby. Mr. X is doing his thing, digging for dirt on Kevin, and Kim is all bent out of shape when she learns he may be engaging in shady behavior to acquire the information that she wants.
I did a self-guided tour of his domicile, all 7 bedrooms and 4.5 baths.
Hold on. You're saying you broke into his house?
We grab him, put him in a bag, and we take him out to the desert.
Yeah, we're done here. We're done. Giselle, this is probably one of those tricks of the trade things. Probably just focus on the what and skip over the how.
I'd like to know.
When Mr. X later suggests kidnapping Kevin and roughing him up to get the information they need, Goodman immediately shuts the idea down. Not because he finds it appalling, but because he wants to protect Kim. Once again, Goodman is looking out for Kim in ways she never looks out for him. Goodman's unconditional love for Kim is again on full display. He knows she wants this, but he also knows she can't handle the devil in the details. This goes back to Kim not being comfortable with the fact that her invisible line of morality is really no better than Goodman's. She just thinks she's better than Goodman, but clearly she isn't. In fact, she's worse, because she engages in shady behavior without even fully comprehending the full scope of her own choices and actions. Hence, Jimmy's desire to protect her. Kim also gets all bent out of shape when Rich calls her out on her bullshit. Kim gets all offended and defensive. Methinks the lady doth protest too much. Because just like when Mr. Acker called her out on her BS, Kim doesn't want to see herself as the underhanded, scheming, conniving bitch that she is. She wants to see herself as an almighty do-gooder who always has the moral high ground, regardless of her own misdeeds. So who is Kim trying to convince here? Mr. Acker? Rich or herself?
You are accusing me of something. Go ahead and say it. Are you talking about malfeasance? Working against my client's interest? What? I told you. I explained the situation to Kevin and Paige.
Yeah, I know you did. And I'm sorry to say, I'm just not buying it.
Please tell me why I would risk everything for some squatter.
With the lone exception of Gene himself, Kim's story is easily the most captivating for me. I love watching her story unfold, and I very much look forward to seeing how it continues playing out. My best guess, once Kim is finished using Goodman for her own selfish ends, and after Goodman inevitably helps her destroy both Kevin and Mesa Verde's grand plans, Kim will once again go back to being the holier-than-thou, arrogant bitch who's always frowning on poor Jimmy. And if that happens, Goodman should just tell her to F off and be done with her if he knows what's good for him. Because Kim is toxic, and she doesn't respect Jimmy, because she thinks she's better than him. But trust me, she isn't. Goodman is better off without her. So what do you think of Kim's story? Please share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed, and have a wonderful night.
Makes you feel like one of the best rich people.
There's always another play.
Okay.
Okay.
You are accusing me of something. Go ahead and say it. Are you talking about malfeasance? Working against my client's interest? What?
Let's be real. Putting me on this, that was bad. I mean, if anyone found out...
A contract means something. It's the law, and it's enforceable. Deal with it.
You're done. You are done!